What's up, guys, and welcome back to Theaney's Garage. In today's video, we're replacing the wheel bearings and front axles on the Sportsman 570. Let's get right into it. So I already got this side done, so we're gonna go ahead and move over to the other side. I did have to take these front plastics off only because I wanted to get this actual whole hub shock assembly off of the four-wheeler. It's a lot easier to get the wheel bearing out with that thing off of there. So that said and done, let's go to this other side and show you the first steps to get it off. First step is to get this wheel off of here so we have access to the hub and everything else. So I'm going to zip this wheel off, zip these four lugs off of here, and we'll move on. All right, now that the wheel is off, we have access to the hub. We're going to go ahead and take this brake caliper off. It is 2 half-inch nuts back here holding this brake caliper on. We're going to set it off to the side. I'll probably zip tie it up somewhere high. There is also a little half-inch thing here holding this on here, this brake line. So I'll just undo that and kind of hang the brake caliper up there somewhere, and then we'll be able to take this tie rod off up here and our axle nut down here. Okay, we got to get the 2 cotter pins off, this one right here and the big one on the axle nut. We will have another one of these that came with the axles, so that's nice. And then this one I'm going to try to not break because I'm going to reuse it. Cotter pin is off of this axle nut. I'm going to use a big impact here. It's a 15/16 socket. Just to zip this off. That came right off. So now our should come right out. Yep, our hub comes right out. Now we have access to the axle and this big hub thing. We still need to take the tie rod off up here, which I think is a 15. If I remember right, it's 2 15s, a nut on the top and bottom, and then we got to get this up here off. Now be sure to remember this tie rod has a flat washer on the bottom and it has a washer up here. So we're just going to stick this on like that, stick this other washer on, and then thread this nut back on just so we don't lose it. So now our little hub assembly should be free of the tie rod. We can go ahead and do this ball joint on the bottom down here, and you're gonna need a pickle fork for that to pop this ball joint free of the A-arm. So I'm just gonna take this pickle fork and wedge it underneath this tie rod under here. Yo! All right, now that our lower ball joint is free, you can actually pull this thing out and kind of free your axle. And then we're gonna go up here to the top and remove this whole assembly to get the wheel bearing out. All right, just using another impact. This is a 3/4, 3/4 impact here, socket. And I'm just gonna literally rip this thing off of here. Like that. Should just come right off. Don't lose your nut up there. And there's another rubber little piece here. Don't lose that. Now, if you were just replacing your axle, you wouldn't have to do that. Right now, you can just pull this axle out and put the new one in. But like I said, we have to replace that wheel bearing. Sorry. And you have to remove that to make it a lot easier. You can do it without it, but it's 10 times easier to take this off. It's worth it to do it. Now, before you try pounding this this wheel bearing out, you could actually see it's definitely toast. You're gonna want to go ahead and get yourself a pair of these things. Get this C clamp out of here and kind of put your hand over this because you do not want this thing flying out. There we go. That's out. Now our wheel bearing should be able to come out. Look at all this nasty dirt up in here. You do have to pound it out from this side. They do have little points here, like divots where you can get a punch and start pounding, but I didn't have any good luck with that, so we're going to try and use this press I got over here. I was able to get this out with a hammer the last time I did this, and it would be easier now. I did it on the other side with this thing still on. I do not recommend that. It was such a pain, but I was able to get this bearing out, but I did not get it in without having to take this off. So definitely take this off. This is the press I'm going to attempt to use. It doesn't have a little thing here, and I don't have the correct thing for this. So I'm just going to attempt to push this out with this if I can. We will see how well this works. I don't have a lot of faith in this, but if I can at least get some movement on it, that's all I care about. Because it's going to end up hitting the... It's already blowing this washer. Okay, that's not going to work. So we're going to need a different washer. As you can see here, it kind of flecks that washer out. So let me see if I can find another washer. Okay, I got like double, triple washers on this thing, and it is pressing this bearing out. The only problem is the way this is, it may actually fall right out, actually. I didn't think there'd be enough room, but it's going right in between there. That's awesome. So this bearing is just gonna press right out of here. Man, it is so useful to have one of these presses. I borrowed this from my neighbor, so shout out to my neighbor for letting me use this. Oh man, that's the end of the hydraulic jack. It won't come out anymore. I had this set too low. It got that bearing almost all the way out. Dang. Yeah, this thing's pretty bad. So I'm gonna try to move this all up. It's gonna take me a minute, so I'm not gonna film that, but I'll bring you back when the bearing is out. All right, so here's the wheel bearings. As you can see, the seals are completely gone. This side's not as bad. This side, the seal, it's just going right to the bearing. I mean, these things are toast. So now what I'm gonna do, my other bearing is already in the freezer. It's been in the freezer for about 2 days now. I just hadn't been able to get to this, so definitely put it in the freezer. It should help it slide in there more. If you have a torch, you can heat this side up, but I don't have one. But for now, what I'm gonna do is really clean this up in here, and then we should be able to set this back on there and press the new one in. And I'll probably use this old one on top of the new one and kind of press it in like that. That way I'm not messing up the new one. Here is the new bearing. I set this up a little bit different. It had to be a lot lower. The new bearing is cold. It'd be awesome if it, just fell in there, but that's not gonna happen. This will fit perfectly on this race, so I'm hoping I can use this. The way this thing is set on here though, because Polaris sometimes sucks, you can't really get a good centered push on this, so I don't know how even of a pressure it's gonna force on this thing. Man. Uh-oh, what's happening here? It's going in crooked. So I had a feeling that would happen. Gonna have to tap it a little bit. I don't know. I really don't want to mess this bearing up. So gonna try over here. Not sure if you can see. Gonna try hitting it with this piece of wood on this side. See if I can kind of get it to go in straighter. This side's all nasty. Okay, it's still pretty crooked there. That's what I was afraid of with this press. Because the way that Polaris has these this system is stupid if you ask me. But who am I? Nobody. So let's try to, I don't think this is gonna press on how I want it to because the way it is. It's already crooked. I don't think it's gonna go on straight. I'm gonna either have to tap it out or somehow get that corner in. Hopefully you can see this. Trying to still do this while this bearing is cold too, so that it might go in a little bit easier. We don't have a lot of room here for this thing to work either. Yeah, I see it's already slipping off. This is not gonna work. Son of a gun. Okay, let me see if I can, I need to pop this side of the bearing in more to make it flush. There's no way it's ever gonna sit flush with the way this hub assembly is. So I gotta get this side down, and then hopefully once it's down, it should push in a little bit easier. So let me try to do that. Okay, I got it to tap out by hitting the side of it that was low, and it kind of evened out, and now I'm literally just tapping it. And it's going in pretty good. If I had a better way to that's working pretty good. It's right on the edge of the race. This is a 1 3/4 inch socket, if you're curious. So that's what fits that. And it fits actually inside of this thing, so we should be able to get it all the way down until it stops and bottoms out. And that's it, bottomed out. Would you look at there? That was a lot easier than the other side. Now that I had this pressed and it actually got it in there even. So now we literally just have to put the C-clip on and throw this thing back up on the quad after we put the new axle in. C-clip going on. Maybe. Make sure you cover your eyes when you do this, because this thing can and will spring out. C-clip's on, just like that. Now we can get the new axle and yank this old one out. These are the, well, this is the new axle. Like I said, I already did the other side. Make sure you don't lose this. It's your little, whatever those things are called. I can't remember right now. And here's the axle. It's definitely a little bit thicker and heavier duty than the old one. Here's the new one. Here's the old one. It's thinner. This is significantly more heavy, feels a lot stronger. So let's go over here and pull this other one out. Depending on how rusty our axles are, sometimes they can be an absolute pain to get out. Hopefully this one isn't, the other side wasn't. Basically, you're just gonna sit here and give a good, well, look at there, yank, and it comes right out. So sometimes they're not gonna be that easy. They're gonna be an absolute pain in the ass. So what you can do is kind of spray around there with some PB Blaster or some kind of penetrating fluid. And another thing is I'm gonna clean out over here and clean out those splines a little bit, and then throw some new grease on the new axle, on the splines, on the diff side and the hub side. Now to get this new axle on, you're just gonna kind of line it up in here on the splines, and it should slide in somewhat. It's gonna get to a point and you just need to kind of give it a tap, because there's a little clip on there just like that. There's a little clip on there that stops it from moving. So now that this is on, we can put our shaft up here, our big spring shock, whatever this is, hub, where we just fixed the wheel bearing, and connect it back up here to the top. All right, now that that's attached, we can slide our new axle in here. Just kind of have to bend it a little bit, and it should slide in just like that. And then we can get our hub. But again, I'm gonna grease this. I'm gonna grease our hub up down here and slide it on. And then once it's slid on, we can put this A-arm down here back on, attach it, and then our tie rod up here, and then we'll go to tightening everything down. A-arm ball joint is on. The tie rod is on. That is 30 foot-pounds. I want to say this was 18 foot-pounds. I can't remember. Next is the brake. I'm going to go ahead and put the brake on so that I can torque the axle nut down to 50, actually 60 foot-pounds, I believe is what it is. I do have my torque wrench out so I can get this actually accurate. And then I just zip that on up there as tight as it would go by hand. You can put a little nut on the top there. And then on the actual nut, a little wrench on that little square up there. So that's next. And then we should be able to put the wheel on, and we basically should be done. All right, the axle nut is torqued to 60 foot-pounds. Everything is on and tight. Got the cotter pin in. So next thing we need to do is literally just put the wheel back on, lower this thing back down on the ground, and then put all the plastics back. So that should be it, guys. All right, guys, that's going to be the end of this one. Everything's put back together on this thing. I'm actually getting ready to sell it, so this is probably the last time you're going to see it on the channel in like garage form. I got a buddy who's really wanting it, so I'm selling it to him. I kind of don't want to sell this thing. I love it, but at the same time, I'm ready to move on to another project. I got the Scrambler still for now, and I'm probably going to be listing it soon, and still looking out. I'm always looking out for some deals, but I really, really want to try to scoop up a Sportsman or a Scrambler 850. I'd love to get an 850. But that's it, guys. Use the links down below. Help support my channel. If you want to help support it a step further, consider becoming a member. 99 cents a month, early access to videos, and sometimes I post a video. Sometimes I don't. I forget. That's it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. Hope you have a good night. It's dark out. It's extremely hot out here, too, so have a good one. Bye.